So here's the gist of it. At Trump's insistence, GOP launches a new January 6th committee. This is off of CNN. Now, this was the end of July. So this is where the whole, the scene of the crime, or the whole thing started. This is when it actually got launched, but Trump had been railing against this since before the time he got back into the White House and was inaugurated. And here we are now, in the end of July. They finally get around to it, and boy, is it a doozy. President Donald Trump is not done relitigating the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol, and neither are his allies at Capitol Hill, of course. GOP Representative Barry Loudermilk, he's from Georgia, so he's another whack job, announced this week that he will be leading a select subcommittee to once again investigate the incident, re-scrutinizing the work of the previous Democrat-led Jan 6 committee that made the case that Trump's actions fueled violence that day. Actually, it's been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, and these idiots, these morons, are going to do nothing but make themselves look like fucking fools, just like the Epstein case. But don't tell them that. They're just that stupid. So let them run into the walls. And he told CNN it all comes at Trump's request. Of course, you're going to do whatever Daddy Trump tells you. You want to go suck his dick. You want his tie hanging in your face. You just love to smear your fucking nose up Daddy Trump's ass. In early June, Loudermilk said the president had summoned him to the White House to understand why Republicans had not stood up a new investigation. It had been 6 months since the pair had spoken directly about the issue, and negotiations on Capitol Hill had been stalled for months as many of the parties sought to move on. Yeah, that's the smartest thing that they could do, but of course they're never going to do anything smart because dumbass is in charge. I got called in by the president, Loudermilk told CNN. We sat and talked for a while, and he was asking, "What is this goal?" Because we'd expected it to be done early in the year, too. We talked about it, and he engaged with the Speaker's office. Before Trump took office, he told House Speaker Mike Johnson that he wanted House Republicans to prioritize relitigating the previous investigation into January 6th. Two sources familiar with the conversation told CNN. Behind the scenes, where's Waldo? Where's Waldo? Johnson wrestled for weeks on how to implement Trump's request while balancing moderate and vulnerable members of the GOP's historically narrow majority who wanted the party to look ahead and focus on the agenda. Oh, that couldn't possibly stay where it was, no. Some of the delay was bureaucratic. Republicans could not figure out which committee would helm the investigation, since it would no longer be under the House Committee on Administration, and lawmakers didn't have the consensus on the direction they would take. Johnson at one point wanted Republicans to stop investigating the former Jan 6 committee. Wow, Johnson actually had some common sense? I doubt it lasted very long. Including former GOP Rep. Liz Cheney, and narrow the GOP panels according to 3 sources familiar with the negotiations. I don't even know what that means. But Loudermilk wanted a broader mandate and to have his own subpoena power. Yeah, he wanted his own subpoena fascist power, that's for sure. After Trump's direct involvement, Loudermilk ultimately got everything he wanted. He even had arranged agreement with other committee chairs that he could look outside his current jurisdiction if needed, according to a source familiar with the negotiations. He's part of the equation making it happen, the source told CNN of Trump. Loudermilk told CNN that White House was clear they wanted us to continue doing what we were doing. Of course they were. CNN has reached out to the White House for comment. And here's our nut job, Loudermilk. Here's our feckless hero of the day, the Trump dick sucker of the day. The announcement that Loudermilk would be getting his own select subcommittee with subpoena power came just as several House Republicans joined Democrats in a high-stakes voting demanding the release of files related to Jeffrey Epstein. And we don't want to keep going on about that. Everyone knows. Loudermilk's investigation into the select subcommittee is now into its 3rd year, and they found absolutely nothing, said Representative Betty Thompson, a Democrat who chaired the Democrat-led January 6th committee. Continuing, it is not only pathetic, it sets our democracy back. Republicans will do literally anything to protect Trump and distract from releasing the Epstein files. It seems Republicans are so desperate to talk about anything other than their Jeffrey Epstein cover-up that they're breaking out all the tired old hits. Representative Zoe Lofgren, a Democrat who served on the committee led by Thompson, said in a statement. In the last Congress, Loudermilk zeroed in on former Jan 6 committee and its work product, an effort that resulted in a report recommending Cheney be prosecuted by the FBI for her role in probing the Capitol attack. Yeah, you're gonna go ahead and go. You're gonna prosecute her for going ahead and prosecuting the people who did it. His new committee cannot officially get started until September, when lawmakers return from a 5-week recess. Loudermilk will need to quickly build up its staff, since much of the original staff working on the project had left given the months of delay. This time, Loudermilk will have a willing partner in the White House, a jackass, a 34-time felon loser, adjudicating rapist, election fraud, scammer, schemer, fucking moron, empty suit, crypto grifter, which might be willing to turn over DOJ or other files related to Jan 6. I have no idea what they would possibly have that we don't already have. Whatever it is, they'll probably make it up. We have a friendly administration now who has already committed to work with us to provide us whatever we're looking for, Loudermilk said. I don't know if they're going to subpoena. What are they going to get out of it? With subpoena power to compel testimony and documents which he did not have during his original investigation. Loudermilk will be less focused on the security failures at the U.S. Capitol and more on scrutinizing the former January 6th Select Committee work. He said he will also examine law enforcement and intelligence agencies. Trump has long viewed his prosecution in connection with the events of January 6th as unfair and whiny, and it's a witch hunt. Boo-hoo-hoo, I'm a criminal. Oh, don't blame me. I never do anything wrong. And his administration has removed prosecutors from the Justice Department who worked on the Jan 6 cases, as we all know. Those Republicans are proud of our work on exposing the false narratives peddled by the politically motivated Jan 6 Select Committee during the 117th Congress. But there is clearly more work to be done. Yes, says House Speaker, where's Waldo? Constipated Mike Johnson said in a statement. Obviously, we know he didn't get religion. Whatever common sense he had, it went out the window really fast. I think we can move a whole lot faster at this point, Loudermilk added. Oh, of course you can. Of course you can. You can do whatever the fuck you want to now because Daddy Trump's in charge, right? Okay. You think so. As a new select subcommittee, Democrats will have the option to seat up to 3 of their own members. And now we go to the Hill. This was yesterday, September 9th, when we have the aforementioned press conference by congressional Democrats about this members who will be on this select subcommittee. He says GOP will regret revisiting January 6th. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries warned Republicans on Monday they'll regret their decision to re-examine the Jan 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. And we'll go into more information about that during the press conference. Jeffries said Democrats will use their participation in a newly launched GOP investigation of the rampage to highlight President Trump's role in fomenting the violence that day, which is beyond obvious and beyond reasonable doubt. Republicans will regret then decided to go down this road, Jeffries told reporters in the Capitol. Republicans last week voted to create a new Jan 6 investigative committee. So here we are in September, and now they created the committee, which will revisit the attack almost 3 years after the initial Jan 6 Select Committee delivered its report blaming Trump for inciting the riot. The new panel also has powers to investigate the old one. Republican leaders have defended Trump's actions surrounding the attack, bashing the initial investigation as a one-sided witch hunt aimed at solely at hurting Trump politically. I think Trump does that himself just by getting up every day and being an asshole. They're expected to use the new committee in an effort to exonerate their White House ally who was impeached for a second time in the immediate wake of the 2021 riot. They're all sharpening their knives, thinking that somehow they're going to let Trumpy Wumpy off the hook. And Trumpy Wumpy has way too much shit hanging off of his ass for that to happen. Our goal is to answer the remaining questions, uncover all of the facts, and implement reforms so this level of security failure will never happen again. Representative Barry Loudermilk, Republican Georgia, who would chair the committee, said after the panel was created, "It's time to finish the job." You know how that's going to happen? Barry Loudermilk? When you and all of your fascist fucking assholes, including the nut jobs and the mutts in the cabinet, the dry humps in the cabinet, including, and the guy who lives in the White House will get kicked out of office and never, ever, ever, ever come close to seeing anything near that kind of power the rest of their fucking miserable, feckless lives.